So, it is official. Donald Trump now is charged with 34 felony counts of falsifying business records related to his role in hush money payments. Trump pleaded not guilty, but if convicted, he faces up to 4 years in prison for each count and may have to serve them one after the other. That could mean 136 years behind the bars. But for the Americans, I want to remind you, locking a former US president up is not even the most terrifying thing at this moment. What is worse is that the American democracy seems to have reached a point of no return.
Time and time again, we today uphold our solemn responsibility to ensure that everyone stands equal before the law. No amount of money and no amount of power changes that enduring American principle.
This man is Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg, the prosecutor who became the first person to indict a sitting or former U.S. president. As he said, correctly, it is a judicial case on the surface. We say all those legal terms all over the media. But down to the core, it has turned into a political duel between Democrats and Republicans. While the 2024 presidential election is more than a year away, the gauntlet has been thrown down. Trump gained support inside the Republican Party. U.S. House Speaker Kevin McCarthy has repeatedly stressed that this is all for political purpose.
You can go through law after lawyer after lawyer after lawyer will tell you this is the weakest case out there. Trying to make a misdemeanor a felony, the timeline doesn't work because it's too long past, and doing it after a person for political purposes. And the last thing we want or have is somebody putting their thumb on the scale simply because they don't agree with somebody else's political view. That is what's wrong, and that's what infuriates people.
And Senator Lindsey Graham claimed it is selective prosecution.
You know what that means in English? They're making stuff up that they've never used against anybody because they hate Trump. That's what this is. They're brewing a legal cocktail, Tony, to try to come up with some bizarre theory of the law never used by anybody in New York just because they hate Trump. You know why they're doing this? Because they're afraid of Trump. That's why they're doing it. Yeah. Is this really the most important thing going on in Manhattan, to be honest with you? So I think this is an effort that's ongoing, never-ending, to destroy Donald Trump, everything around Donald Trump. This is selective prosecution. If I were President Trump, I'd take this all the way to the Supreme Court.
Indeed, speaking of Manhattan, it is certainly not the most peaceful part of New York City. The DA there should be pretty busy. And the indictment against Trump does make some people confused. With many previous rumors about collusion, stock issues around all those U.S. presidents, Trump now has become the first former U.S. president to face criminal charges because of hush money. I mean, this unprecedented event will be definitely written into American history. But the charges do not sound that glamorous.
From everything we know now, this looks like the weakest case in modern history. And when you have a Democrat who had run for office on the campaign to get Trump, and he's trying to indict the man who's about to run against the head of the Democratic Party, namely President Joe Biden, you better have a slam dunk case. Now, we don't know whether there's a slam dunk case, but from everything we know, this seems like an extraordinarily weak case and an extraordinary abuse of prosecutorial discretion.
Extraordinarily weak, but not so on the Democratic side.
But I think the idea that this is a kind of trivial case is wrong. Let's go back to what exactly is involved here. Donald Trump thought that the information about Stormy Daniels was so imperiling to his election that he had to cover it up. So it was important to him. We had a cover up. The American people were deprived of certain information. Is it a crime? We have to see. Is there enough information or evidence to prove that? We'll have to see in a normal process. But this is not insignificant. He thought it was significant.
Relative to the roaring media and the public discussion, Biden has kept silent about this whole thing. But even if the White House stays out of the fray, tensions are already running high on Capitol Hill. This is a setting where Republican representatives joined the supporters of Donald Trump outside the Manhattan courthouse.
But the two notable people that showed up, one expected, the other perhaps a surprise. You mentioned it. Embano, Long Island Congressman George Santos showed up, and he walked through the crowd of people saying he was here. People asked, why are you here? He said, because I can be. And he said he supports the former president. And then, as advertised, the Georgia Congresswoman and very vivid and strong supporter of the former president showed up, as she said she would shortly after that indictment was announced. She showed up, and the crush of cameras, I mean, I'm talking about 3-4 dozen cameras started following her.
And McCarthy said he's directing relevant committee to immediately investigate if this is politically motivated prosecutions. In response, Democrats in Congress have declared themselves ready to fight.
But it is deeply concerning that Congress would try to interfere in the administration of justice. I serve on that Judiciary Committee now. Well, when I was removed from the Intel Committee, I was put in a senior position on the Judiciary Committee, and you can better believe I'm going to use my position in that committee to fight against these efforts to undermine the rule of law, because that's exactly what they're trying to do here.
As you see, American politics right now is a mess. The fragmentation of politics originated from the divided American society and in turn further intensifies it. The tug of war between Democrats and Republicans in those high buildings, and the pushing and shoving of the American people in the streets, like in Ouroboros, intertwine in a perfect loop. But some people still are trying to fake it.
There isn't a need that everything has to be partisan. The American people don't believe in that. Our government is designed to have compromise.
Seriously? The American people don't believe in the partisan world? Yes, they don't want to believe in it. But there isn't a need that everything has to be partisan. Mr. McCarthy, do you remember how Democrats reacted when I struggled to grab that gavel? Everything in American politics had already been partisan. And under your leadership in the House, Mr. McCarthy, there's no sign of any let-up. Not at all. Funny thing, 3 minutes after McCarthy said this, he blamed the inflation on the Democrats.
That there's only one place inflation can be created: government spending. We watched what the Democrats took the majority. What did they do?
Yeah, our government is designed to have compromise, but whatever is wrong, blame the Democrats. No partisan, huh? And you know what? Most people are actually used to it. But this time, the unprecedented Trump indictment could be a signal that the struggling American democracy might have passed the point of no return. Because now the key is whether the justice system has also become a political machine gun. As this cartoon shows, earlier on, when he was running for office, Trump shouted at Clinton, "Lock her up!" But now, he's the first U.S. president to be indicted on criminal charges. Apparently, this cartoon was meant to mock Trump. But what if it is like passing a ticking bomb? When partisanship is above all else, the judicial system is likely to be downgraded as a tool. And it's only a matter of time before there is a first U.S. president facing criminal charges. Just like the bomb will blow up sooner or later in the hands of any unlucky man. Back to reality, the next impact of these charges will likely be on 2024 U.S. presidential elections. The opinion polls show Trump has widened his lead in the 2024 Republican presidential primary, and speculations has begun about whether the indictment could actually help him in the race. In the past, party affiliation might have been a good shortcut to help people make wise decisions in elections. When they choose a party, the party correctly reflects their preference for policies. Simple and effective. However, this is no longer the case. The animosity between these parties is growing, and many people's political belief has become emotional and combative. Now, lots of American people can't distinguish parties' positions on many political issues. All they remember is that you're on the other side, and I will make you happy. Such a political environment is destructive, not constructive. Currently, we don't know where this will end up. But the partisan war in the United States will be a giant tornado that will sweep everything on its path. Hopefully, the American people's justice system will be spared. Alright, that's for today. Thanks for watching. If you like our show, remember to click like and subscribe. I'm Sina. See you next time.